About a half a mile or so down the mall is the Lincoln Memorial. The statue in there is so lifelike you can almost hear the great emancipator speaking.
It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
Across the tidal basin stands the newest of the three, the Thomas Jefferson Memorial. The building was designed from various things that Jefferson himself created. It is a solemn and impressive monument to the man who wrote the words that made us free.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
We visited each of these memorials more than once, including one tour to see them lit up at night. They make the importance of these three men in our history more vivid to anyone who sees them. The Capitol of the United States is the highest building in Washington, D.C. I'm Don Bratland, and I'm going to tell you about this and many other buildings we saw on our tour. The Capitol stands at the top end of the Washington Mall. Many government and historic buildings line each side of the Greenway. At the other end is the Washington Monument, which is taller than the Capitol, but then it's not a building. This is the third largest unsupported dome in the world. The dome was dedicated by Abraham Lincoln, even though the rest of the building had been in use since the turn of the 19th century. Here, sir, the people govern, wrote Alexander Hamilton. Here they rule through their direct representative. Our tour of this building included a guided trip to a few key areas, plus a visit to the chambers of the House of Representatives, where we saw a few moments of a bill being debated. On the steps, we met and had our picture taken with Mr. Bill Frenzel, our direct representative in Congress. Here we are approaching the National Archives. The original of the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution are here, but it is too dark inside to film. Uptown in Washington is Ford's Theater, where Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. You can actually look inside the booth where he sat, but again it's far too dark to get it on film. We also saw a brief lecture on the assassination and a musical show from the time of Lincoln. Across the street is the Peterson House, where Lincoln was carried and died the next morning. The Museum of Natural History is one of the Smithsonian Institution buildings. Here we can see the natural history of the world and its people, wildlife, plants, minerals, and many other related displays. This is the largest Bengal tiger ever captured. It's funny they don't have a bowl of cereal in the display. The Museum of History and Technology, with its infinity sculpture in front, shows man's inventions and developments. The Foucault pendulum is the center attraction. It proves the rotation of the Earth in continuous motion. Other displays include transportation, industry, clothing, and the style of life in many eras of our country's history. There's also a display right now which shows that this country is a nation of many different peoples and cultures. It includes a popular attraction, a well-known sign of a well-known eating establishment, as it appears at its Tokyo location. Watch for it in a moment. Most popular of all is the National Museum of Air and Space. Just about anything concerning flight is on display here in large open areas which permitted some of the best indoor picture taking we had. From Kitty Hawk to Skylab, this was the one building which we spent much time in fact 2 days. This is the original Wright brothers plane, and right above it is Charles Lindbergh's Spirit of St. Louis. There were 2 of dozens of full-size planes on display in this building. Here we have the capsules from the Russian-U.S. space link-up. The Soviet Soyuz is the green one, and the U.S. ship is on the left. In all, there are 25 buildings in the Smithsonian complex. In all, only about 25% of what they own is on display. If you were to see each display for 1 minute, it would take 75 years to go through the whole thing. It's been called our nation's attic, and a most impressive and interesting attic it is.
One of the most serious and solemn moments of the tour was here at Arlington National Cemetery. This is Dave Hoff, and I was one of those who was chosen to participate in the placing of the wreath at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. This was Troop 282 and 379's tribute not only to those unknown soldiers, but to all who have died so that we can continue to enjoy freedom. This was a proud and inspiring moment for everyone who watched and participated. Here lies an honored grove